Good evening, everybody. Here we are. The people are assembling. The crew has the mics on, at least hopefully. We're about to find out if you can hear everybody. We, of course, have got quite the show planned for you tonight. It is good to be back in the saddle. We've been a little bit out of our normal rhythm with Legends Look Back between, health issues and I'm not even sure houses falling apart. So we're glad to be here live with everybody here on our new platform on YouTube Live. Of course, if you're watching this later, if you're looking for us on Twitch, I'm sorry. This is not the podcast you're looking for. You're gonna have to hop on over here to YouTube. And normally we start off the show with something stupid like puzzles, right? Or Star Wars variant covers of comics that we've been picking up. But tonight we've got to start the show on a more serious note. Tonight we're going to be talking about a universe that is fictional, that helps us escape from the real world, in which we realize, of course, that the real world is full of problems. This franchise that we engage with fictionally helps us to look at our own world with more clarity while also escaping it from time to time. And honestly, Star Wars is a franchise based on many Asian cultural themes, from sword-wielding samurai to even the Force itself, honestly. But tonight, we just have to start by realizing that, hey, this podcast is not just because we love Star Wars. We do this podcast because we love the people who join us for the show and who listen to the show and get some value from it. And so for that reason, we want to acknowledge the start of the show tonight that there's been a lot of hate out there. And we specifically at Utini want to be clear that all types of people are welcome here. And we love our Asian fans, friends, and listeners. We're heartbroken for the Asian American community, who especially we're realizing more and more are treated with suspicion, especially over the last year and a half. And in this case, of course, have been treated even with violence. We want to start off by saying that we hurt for you and that you're welcome here. Does that about sum it up, Freddie?
Yeah, absolutely. Asian Americans and, Asians in general, you guys are my friends, you're my loved ones, and everything in between. So I just don't understand this ignorance, and I never will, especially being from an area where I would say we have the highest Asian population ever. I'm surrounded by it. I love it. I don't get it, and I'm not here to discriminate. That's definitely not what I'm here for. And personally, if you like Star Wars, if you hate Star Wars, it doesn't matter to me. I'm here to just talk about it, and if you want to listen, you're in the right place.
Yeah, that's right. Whether or not you like this franchise, let's be kind to one another. And so for that reason, we've got quite the show lined up for you tonight. We've got a special guest. We've got a giveaway. We've got Legends news galore. And I'm not making this up. This is not a show from 2008. We really do have a lot of Legends news tonight. And, of course, even a game. So with that being said, here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legends Look Back, a show brought to you by Utini.com, a Star Wars books podcast that's fully compatible with all Game Boy link cables, even those curly ones. You just have to make sure you sit pretty close. But if you do that, you better wear a mask. Anyway, we're going to be talking about all things Legends, celebrating our rich EU history, as well as diving into lesser-known Star Wars classics. I'm your host, Jared Mays. You can see that now over here because we got these nice new name cards for listening on your audio player. You can see our names now if you check us out on YouTube, which is fun. And joining me this week, once again, finally, we have not been together much this year, is my co-host, Freddie C.
I really hope I'm facing the right way. There
we
go. Hey guys, how's it going? I'm glad to be here as always, and we've got a very important guest today. But before we get to that, Game Boy link cables. I have not thought of that word or that sentence in a long time.
See, I just picked up a Nintendo Switch, and I'm trying to figure out how to trade Pokemon with my friends. And my wife's been playing Animal Crossing, and she's like, well, how do I get my friends to visit my island? And I was like, well, I think you just, do it over the internet. And she's like, oh, yeah, I guess we don't need link cables anymore. So she gets the credit for that reference. I was like, oh, that's going in the show notes for sure. For sure. And awesome. Hey, Freddie, one of these days I'm going to get out there to sunny California and we can bust out our link cables.
Sounds
2 feet apart.
Sounds great.
I'll have to buy a link cable. I don't have mine anymore. probably threw it away 20 years ago. But with us once again this week, back from the dead like Palpatine himself, is our producer, Meg Dowell. How are you, Meg? How'd you like that intro?
It was fine. It was fine. It was fine. I'll let it slide this time. Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? I missed you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to have the crew back together again, but not just the crew. We're adding one more. Of course, we want to welcome for his first appearance on Legends Look Back in the flesh, the designer of such beautiful merch, such as the It Was So Artfully Done tank, which I'm looking forward to wearing again now that it's warming up. The host of the Star Wars Archives, Jose. How are you? I'm not sure I can try to pronounce your last name. Is it
Jimenez?
Jimenez. All right, so it's the middle syllable.
Jimenez.
You just need a couple more apostrophes in there to make it legendsy, and we'd be good to go.
Yeah, I mean, you can pretty much do that with any last name, right? And just add apostrophes and spaces, and then it becomes Star Warsy. So
Absolutely.
And if you
hey guys, what's up?
If you add extra vowels, you are a clone.
Yes, that's one of the few things I do know about Legends, right? Is that that's one way to make yourself a clone.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We are, of course, happy to have you here. You know, really dig the vibe that you guys have going on the Star Wars Archives. Of course, if you are listening to this show and you're not a part of the Utini Patreon community, of course, Star Wars Archives is a Patreon exclusive podcast. However, we're making a shift to where there's a 3-month delay? Is it 3 months?
3 months, yeah.
To where you can get access to some of those shows out from behind the paywall, which I think will be a great way to cut your teeth on some of the fun stuff we've got going on behind the scenes. And I got to say, oh man, do I love your show. I always wait and save it for the day every week that I go snowboarding and just like laugh down the mountain. And sometimes you guys are talking to me and I'm on the mountain, in the middle of nowhere, like on Hoth, talking to you guys. You can't hear me. Trev's across the pond, all the way out in California. Anyway, absolutely love what you've got going on with that show. Would you want to tell us a little bit about it? You know, assuming some of our listeners are not on Patreon, what is Star Wars Archives?
Sure. I mean, I think this just started as an idea just because. So Trev, I mean, he's been on this show, right? And he, as everyone knows, he has like close to 1,000 pieces of Star Wars books and comic books and things. So we had to figure out a way to just use them, right? So so we wanted to feature all his knowledge and all this like stuff that he knows and has. And as a contrast, then I just came in because I'm a little bit newer to everything that has to do with like the extended universe. And I haven't read a lot of Legends. I've started, well, now I'm at 40 Star Wars books. And so, but it was just kind of getting that contrast of just someone that has been living through it for many years and then someone who's much newer, and then just kind of like trying to get an idea of, just because Star Wars can be for everyone, you don't have to have all that vast knowledge to be able to enjoy it. You can just come in fresh and still have fun with it. And I think that's just kind of like where it all starts. And basically Trev is just telling me about random facts, usually more from Legends. And then I just try to connect that to more pop culture references because that's really that's more of what I know. And so, but yeah, no, it's just a lot of fun. And I've definitely learned quite a bit of information from books that I have never read.
Oh man, and there is going to be some fun stuff coming up for you guys to talk about because we've got some amazing Legends stuff that's coming down the pipeline that I just know Trevor is chomping at the bit to tackle. But there's something in what you just said that I want to touch on there, Jose, and that is that Star Wars is for everyone. It's not about how much you know. I want to be careful that with a Legends show where, hey, we're proud of our knowledge. I, for one, would love to take down Trev in the Legends off whenever we get around to that. I don't know that I will. In fact, I'm highly doubtful that I will.
But have him have enough wine first, and maybe
that's right. I'm going to mail him one of those boxes of wine.
Yeah.
I'll send him some Skywalker Ranch wine. That way, he won't be able to avoid it. Send my entire stimulus check just to try to beat Trev and the Legends off. Anyway, but hey, we can be proud of our knowledge. We like to help inform and entertain both. But honestly, it doesn't matter how much Star Wars you've read, especially how much Legends knowledge you have. How many Solo children can you name? How many Palpatine clones can you name? All right, it doesn't matter. All that matters is you can be a fan on your own terms. If you prefer reading nothing but fan fiction, go for it. Enjoy. We hope to convert you to Legends, but do your own thing, and there's no judgment there. And so for that reason, we want you on this episode to be our surrogate for the Legends newbie, somebody who maybe has read a Legends book or two. You've heard about a Mara Jade or a Sabayoth here and there, but that's about it. And we're going to help customize some Legends recommendations for you. How's that sound?
Sounds great. Yeah.
Now, you got to be careful. Freddie, you can't just recommend the Truce at Bakura in 3 different versions. You got hardback and paperback, and then the one with that stupid sticker on it that says it covers up the epic handshake. Yeah, that one doesn't even have the handshake, Freddie. Ugh,
Don't worry, I got this
copy. Oh, okay, that's fair. That's a lot better. For those of you who are listening on audio, there's different versions. One of them is canonical in Legends. So it's the canonical, non-canonical version of the book. Anyway, we've teased it. We've got to get to it. And that is over in the Discord. We talked about how this week in our mailbag segment, I've got something super special to show off. I might even dare to say that it's one of a kind. All right, before I get there, Freddie, you got any new Star Wars books to show off this week? Star Wars merch. Doesn't have to be books, be toys, be stickers, be balloons. Doesn't matter.
I do. You ready? Here we go.
Oh my gosh. That is the biggest Funko I've ever popped.
The big boy.
Not
its head. Wait, hold it up next to you, Freddie. Its head is almost as big as yours.
Yeah, check that out.
Freddie is
awesome.
currently
That's
holding
ridiculous.
up a Stormtrooper Funko Pop, but it's not just like a big Funko Pop, it's a giant Funko Pop.
Just think about my head. It's about that size.
It really is. I saw one. I was in a store a couple days ago. I know it's a crime these days. No. I was where was I at? I think I was in my local comic book shop because I've kind of become a regular there to pick up these variant covers. And they had a massive Funko. It might have been Baby Yoda, which I found ironic that there was a massive Baby Yoda.
It's more like life size at that point, isn't it?
Almost. I was like, you might as well just stick that life size sticker on there. Absolutely. How about you, Jose? Any recent Star Wars acquisitions you want to show
Well, you didn't give me
show?
much time to prep for this.
No, I
man,
gave you a full 2 minutes. That's right.
I did just get this in the mail. I got the latest issue of Star Wars Insider. So
I'm so jealous.
Issue 201. So there's that. Which I have. I mean, I just took it out of the plastic cover, but I haven't really opened it. But yeah, so this should be cool.
Well, you've ruined it as a collectible. I don't want it anymore.
Well,
just kidding.
I guess you can read it.
I'm so excited to get mine.
So yeah, that would be my latest acquisition, I guess.
Excellent. Now that's the one with the Kevin Scott short story.
Oh, is it? Yeah. I mean, isn't he's issuing a few of those, right? It's just
I think this one starts off with Kevin's, or is it 201? Do you say 201?
This is 201.
Yeah, I think 201 has Kevin's story. So I'm excited to dive into that. He tweeted yesterday that it was out, and
so
I literally ran to my mailbox, and it was not there. And so hopefully tomorrow, I'll update everybody in the Discord. Let us know what you think of that short story. I'm glad they brought back original fiction. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm down for it.
Meg, I know that the bookshelf in your house is under construction, under remodel. Do you have anything that you want to show off, though?
I do. But first of all, in the notes when it said Stormtrooper Funko, I was expecting just like the normal size. I was not expecting you to just. Oh man, that got me. Okay, so I have acquired multiple things since we were last here. But I'm gonna maneuver around on my things. This is probably the one I'm most excited about because look how pretty this is.
It's so shiny.
Yes.
It is. I'm trying. My light is. That's fun. Heir to the Empire, 20th anniversary edition. Right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's right. And I think we're approaching. No, this year is the 30th. So
Is
hey,
it?
let's get
Yeah.
another version. Let's get even more extra content.
Once again, I was super late to acquiring something that was cool when it came out. That's just who I am, I guess. But
I would go ahead.
Oh, I'm excited to put it on my shelf when I can do that.
If that's a book that's appealing to people, I would recommend that you try to grab it sooner rather than later because it's still fairly easy to find compared to some other Legends hardcovers. And I guarantee you that is before very long going to become quite rare. It's such a nice collectible, unique book. There's nothing else out there like it. and that I can almost guarantee you that those suckers are going to be worth quite a bit within the next few years. What do you think, Meg?
Yeah, for sure.
Trying to validate the expense that you paid for this thing.
It was not as much as I was expecting, but worth it for sure.
Excellent. I bought some new ones today too, but before we get to those will be for next week. I do want to show off what I picked up. I went out to get my haircut at a local town nearby, which just so happens to have my favorite used bookstore on the way. So I made sure I planned an extra, 15 minutes into my trip, and boy, did I hit the jackpot this time around. I found some weird ones. Okay, so we got Clone Wars Curse of the Black Hole Pirates, Secret Missions number 2.
Oh, that's great.
I'm probably guessing Trevor's the only person on the team who's read it. Looking forward to it. It's got some fun little illustrations inside. Looks like we might even have a Chiss Jedi. We got a blue-skinned person with red eyes wielding a lightsaber. So gonna have to get to that sooner rather than later. We've got random Rebels book. Couple more I'm excited about here. Oh, look at this one. This is just for Meg. All right, we got Last of the Jedi number 5, A Tangled Web. You see just how gorgeous Palpatine's looking? He's ready to make his like runway model debut on the cover of this thing. It looks like
he is fully clothed.
He is fully clothed, but he's thinking about not being fully clothed, don't you think? Only way he could have a smile like that. Now, Trevor, Freddie, this is a fun one. I've got Clone Wars Decide Your Destiny, Tethan Battle Adventure, because we have been trying to plan a Choose Your Own Adventure episode of Legends Look Back. And I've been trying to find the right book for us because I don't know about you, but I want to hear Freddie die horrifically 10 or 12 times in my podcast. And so I'm hoping that I'm going to try to tackle this one this weekend, see if it's got I want some really funny, epic deaths. I want to make sure that that can happen. That can be fun for us. But the real jackpot out of what I picked up yesterday is I got the non-Legends banner paperback of
nice.
Clone Wars Wild Space. When I found this in the bookstore, I literally did this, and I kid you not, I went, oh, and everybody turned and looked at me, and I was like, oh, yeah, sorry, just a book. Got a book. Nothing else is happening here. But, all right, drum roll, please. We have a drum roll effect. This is the book that I am so incredibly excited to show off. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's one of a kind. Now, Freddie, this is actually convenient that I've got this one to show off this week because we're planning an episode. It got delayed due to illness. We are going to be doing an episode that is the Lost Legends of Legends. Do you remember this, Freddie?
Of course, yeah.
And we've been reading a Star Wars book that's never been released. That is a book that was planned for 1993. It was supposed to be the book that came out in place of Truce at Bakura, but Truce at Bakura bumped it out of publication. It literally yeeted it out of Legends. All right. This book I had custom printed.
No way.
I did. The Heart of the Jedi. I would like to think I'm one of maybe only a handful of Legends fans in the world that owns this thing. The author, Kenneth C. Flint, actually published the entire manuscript, about a year ago online, saying like, hey, this is not for money. I'm not trying to sell this thing. I just want the world to have it. Here's the story. Here's the behind the scenes on how this happened. And just want the Legends community to have it and to be able to read it. Well, I haven't been able to be on screens because of my concussion, but I wanted to read the book. And I was like, I'm just going to go to my office printer and, do what everybody does and only steal office supplies and print this off of, use the entire ink cartridge. And I was like, hold on. What if I did something even crazier? And I printed it. So only reason I printed it is like the cover is just gorgeous.
It really is.
Stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about this. This book is amazing. Freddie, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I like it more than just Truce at Bakura. I do. I know he's hurt. He's hurt. He's holding his copy of Truce at Bakura for those who are.
He had
listening.
no words there to respond to that comment, man.
No, Jose, as a co-host with Trevor, all right, he's the only other person on the Uchini team I know who has custom printed a book. How far on the Trevor crazy spectrum have I tipped with this latest bit of of Legends fandom?
I mean, here's the thing. I don't think it's that crazy. I think what you did makes total sense to me. So
okay, yeah, sure.
like if you have it, you need to have, make it proper and give it a proper cover and everything. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's that crazy. However,
right.
it is something that he does. So, I mean, you're definitely going into Trevor territory there. I just don't think it's
I
that
hope
crazy.
he's proud. I just hope he's proud.
That's
Oh
awesome.
my goodness.
That and I do have to admit that cover is absolutely beautiful. It's very colorful. It doesn't have the same caliber as True Sabakura, but I'll let it slide.
Well, you got to finish it. Have you not? You haven't finished it yet, have you?
I'm halfway through.
It's like 400 pages. I mean, it's pretty big. All right, so we do have some great things here in the chat. Thanks everybody who's joining us. Jarrett Tyree says it's his first week with us live. Grateful to have you here. He says, "Why did it get canceled?" And just curious how you got it bound. Sounds like we got us another Legends deep diver here with us, which is fun. It got canceled. Well, I think I'm gonna hold on to that for our Lost Legends episode. We're gonna talk all about it.
Stay
Basically, a couple different reasons: contracts and. Well, the only way to communicate in 1991 when this was being written was like snail mail. So it was kind of miscommunication about the fact that Kathy Tears was writing a book written right after the Battle of Endor. So with Kenneth C. Flint. And rather than trying to reconcile the two, they were like, we're just going to pick one. And so technically he had not been paid. They had not signed the dotted line. They were like, sorry, bro. George Lucas, the legend goes, he had even read it and approved of it himself, which is amazing. And then how did I get it bound? You might need to join the Legends Lookback Discord. We can talk about that in more detail. I don't know that I should plug an illicit website. I don't know how legal the website is. I think it's legal. It may not be perfectly legal. You know what I mean? Whew, I'm excited about that. You know what else I'm excited about, Freddie? We got some Legends news, don't we?
We do. And how often do you run
these?
into? Yeah, how often do you run into Legends news nowadays? Right?
Like twice a year?
Yeah.
New Epic Collections? That's about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've got the Legends Epic Collections New Republic Volume 5 coming out. What is it? March 9th? Already
Just
out?
came out. Yeah, recently released.
Dark Empire. So just released. Yeah.
I want to encourage people when you get those. I know some have pre-ordered it. When they come in, please take a picture. Fully clothed. Hey, wear clothes when you take this picture, please. Hold this and show it off in the Legends Look Back Discord channel. I want to see that you have gotten your copy because we're going to be talking about the rest of the Dark Empire series. It's going to be our April roundtable. Isn't that right, Freddie?
Yeah. Yeah. Should be fun.
But what if they are cosplaying as Palpatine?
No. Cosplay as this Palpatine. I just knocked all my books to the floor. This one. All right. Make this face.
Okay.
But not the Dark Empire face. All right. This face.
What if you get enough slime to kind of like
no slime? No slime.
Is that what we're going as? Are Utini cosplay a bunch of clones of vats and
next
clones
on the list is next on the list we've got Meg. I want to hear your opinion on this because the Star Wars Insider the Fiction Collection Volume 1 has been delayed. Dun, dun, dun. Now here's the cool thing: it's been delayed to May 4th. All right, so that's exciting. On the other hand, this is the second or third time it's been delayed, and I don't know about you, but that gives me hives. So Meg, play conspiracy theory with me for a second here. Is this book coming out? Are we going to get it? What's going on here?
I don't understand what the issue is beyond. No, I really don't know. I admittedly don't know a ton about how publishing works in all areas, like behind the scenes, but I mean, we just had one Star Wars book canceled. And this has been delayed a couple times. It would not look good if they canceled this, but it just keeps getting delayed. But there's another one though, right? Isn't there a second volume also supposed to be
there
coming
has been a
out?
second volume announced because I pre-ordered it. And I had actually, when I went to pre-order that one, I discovered that I had pre-ordered this one twice. Oh, no. So I was pretty excited to cancel this one once. Sorry, Corey, you don't get that 4%. But I did, however, I've got them both pre-ordered. Hopefully they're still coming in.
Yeah.
I really want this one to come in. I'd be pretty upset if this one didn't come. I would go as far as trying to find the illicit copy of it, just like you did with the unreleased copy, I should say, not illicit.
Yeah. I think Trevor did that. I think Trevor actually has all the Insider short stories self-published. But it's like he paid for them in the first place. He just wanted them bound on the shelf a little differently. The Insider mags don't look great on the shelf. You got to get them in these collected editions. Spice Den makes a great point in the chat. Jacob says that Volume 2 is going to come out before Volume 1 at this point, which is hilarious. But hey, we're optimistic at Legends Look Back. We are the most positive Legends community on the internet. Probably. I don't think that's asking for much. So we are hopeful that this is still coming. And when it is, you can count on us and Trevor, of course. He's going to join us for the roundtable. We're going to talk about the best and weirdest short stories from this collection. Jose, are you okay with letting us tackle the roundtable on this? You guys going to feel like you have to do it on Star Wars Archives?
We were gonna do an episode on that, I think. But you know, I think we all just need to start working together a lot more, like across all the different shows, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it could be something where like because I don't want to just focus on one thing. It's more I try to like make the show so we start tying things from all the different eras and different publishing dates and everything. So it's never just going to be focused on, or rarely ever going to be focused on just one thing. So I mean, you guys can do the roundtable, and we're going to touch on it just because I mean Trev is going to want to anyways.
Sure. Yeah, you can't keep him off of this.
Exactly. I mean, he brought it up months ago, right, when this was first, and now he was like, we need to do this, and I'm like, all right, man, if this is, we'll do that. But yeah, no, I mean, we'll have to, you know, maybe you guys can come on as well or something, and we can have fun with that.
We're gonna do a traditional roundtable on it. You guys can go way weirder.
Exactly.
With it, which is fun. That's right.
I like to go weird with the shows because there's just no, I mean, it's a different type of show, right? So I try to tie it to other random things. So
I don't know that I have ever enjoyed a podcast in my entire life as much as I enjoyed the Luke Skywalker's Love Life episode. I mean, I've just been dreaming of having a podcast about that my entire life. I mean, I've tried to start one, but we haven't quite gotten there. But you guys did a whole episode on it for Valentine's Day. So, hey, if you're not in that Utini Patreon, now's your chance. Grab that. We know you got that stimmy money coming in. So what better place to spend it than on some Star Wars podcasts or on some of these other upcoming releases? What else we got, Freddie?
Yeah, so this one's actually pretty big, and I didn't know about this. I'm not really a big Funko Pop collector, but when it comes to Legends and Giant, I don't know if I showed this off to Skooma Joe yet, but when it comes to Funkos, I'm going to have to get this one. But we've got Revan and Bastilla.
Bastila, Freddie, it's Bastila. Come on, man.
Well, I could go.
Me.
I could go the Hispanic
Meg's got the image up here. That's beautiful.
Ooh, I could say Bastilla.
Gonna go with Spanish then.
Okay, podcast is over. This was fun. It's peak. It's never getting any better than that. Just gonna go eat some paella on Kashyyyk. All right,
that's so
ruined
cool.
it. Yeah, you know, I cannot wait. We got light side Revan. He looks like he's ready for prom, and is gonna be the flyest dude on the dance floor. And you know, he's taking Bastila, so they're gonna totally be homecoming king and queen. I can't wait for him to match my my dark side Revan. So we're gonna have the light and the dark. Do I need two Revans? Absolutely, I do. Can't wait for this. Those are already up for pre-order. Is that right, Meg? No, you're a Funko collector.
Yes, I believe they are. I believe I missed it so far, but
Oh.
they're there.
There's still time, hopefully.
Maybe.
Who knows? There's always eBay scalpers. And we've got Utini affiliate links for those, which is fun. All right, next up on the list. Now, this is what I'm excited to hear Jose's take on. I know you guys are going to have to cover this on Star Wars Archives. We got the Ewok Adventures and Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars finally coming to Disney Plus on April 2nd. I mean, like, that's what, a couple weeks? Oh, man. Which one of these are you more excited about? The Ewok Adventures, Clone Wars, or the Ewoks TV show, Jose?
I think the Clone Wars, just because I'm a fan of animation and like, you know, I like to draw and everything. So I've seen a lot of the drawings for this, and I've seen clips of this show too. And I mean, especially there's that one clip where Anakin is eating a worm, and I'm like, what is this show? So, you know, it's noodle-like, so it kind of makes sense that he will eat a worm, right? So
absolutely, like father, like son, noodles and worms.
Exactly. Star Wars are, you know, noodles. It just makes sense. So, but no, I mean, and the Ewok Adventures, like, I'm very curious about them too, just because they're classic movies, right? So I'll have to watch. I'm gonna watch everything, but
I'm feeling like, I have not pitched this idea to Freddie and Meg yet. I'm feeling like we ought to do the Ewok movie live watch along with Legends Look Back. I mean, they're legends. We got Legends content coming to Disney Plus. Whew,
I'm
it's a good
down.
time to be a Legends fan, isn't it, Freddie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
When I got this news, where was I? I was out walking the dog or something. I just jumped and ran, screamed. I kid you not, I was so excited. I like started rehearsing how I was going to talk about it on the podcast. Like I started podcasting out, just walking the dog. I was like, and we've got Legends news, everybody. Legends news. And boy, do we. All right. What else do we have here with Legends news? We've got Disney Plus. We've got Funko Pops. We've got books delayed. We've got short stories. Oh my goodness. This is a lot of fun stuff. One other thing that's more relevant to the Utini-verse. We didn't ever talk about this on the show because we were down for much of the last month and a half. We had different ailments and stuff. But Cheryl, who was on our Last Command roundtable, Cheryl from Patreon, Cheryl Bell was the guest on Conjure Book Club for their coverage of Heir to the Empire. I've been getting caught up with those shows. She did an excellent job. Great coverage. If you didn't get enough from our two-part roundtable, you can go listen to their 4-part, 6-part roundtable. It's amazing. Great content, great stuff. Highly recommended. Really great stuff happening behind the scenes at Utini with our other projects, don't you think, guys?
Yeah, and one more thing. There are some Black Series Legends characters.
Oh,
I don't
like
want to forget about that.
Is this here in the notes? Where is it? I missed
It's
it.
on the notes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Meg, you got pictures of these? Yeah, this is the big one. All right. Yeah, just announced 4 new figures, 5 if you count the Salamari, right? So we got Heir to the Empire Luke with his Salamari. We got Jackson the Lepi, which is fun because he's 3-dimensional. We're used to looking at Jackson 2-dimensional, but here he's looking like kind of like those Power of the Force figures from the early to mid 90s. You know what I'm talking about? Like Buff Luke.
Yeah.
He's going to fit in on my shelf right next to Buff Luke. It's going to be awesome. What else we got? We got Salamari, Luke, which I'm excited to give him. I'm excited to give him a blue lightsaber so he can be Luuk. I'll have to buy 2. We got Maul. Now he's inspired by Maul's it's like the Dark Horse miniseries. It's absolutely some of the best Legends comics. Is this Dark Horse? He's like takes down Black Sun single-handedly. Absolutely excellent Maul story. Maul gets some great comics both in canon and Legends. That's one that I would highly recommend. And then we're missing one, right? Oh, yeah, Crimson Empire. Jax, what is it? Carnor. Take this one, Freddie. How do you pronounce his first name? Carnor Jax?
Cornor?
Carnor,
something like that.
Corin Jax.
Corin Horn Jax?
No, those are actually absolutely excellent stories. I can't wait for us to cover those. These are, of course, if you're watching live, hey, you got the scoop. These are going up live tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific. And so that is going to be your chance to pre-order these because, hey, if you're watching later on YouTube or listening later on your audio podcasting platform, sorry, hopefully they're still out there. If not, name your price. We'll see what we can do. No, I can't wait to display these. These are probably going to stay in the boxes. Meg, you don't have box art, do you? Because the box art on these is tremendous. They actually reference the Legends source work.
No, I
no
don't.
box art?
No.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Just
Look
gonna have
them
to
up.
buy it.
It's on StarWars.com. We've also got a plug for it probably on Utini. I don't know. Just making that up. I'm just going to hope that there is. Always your one-stop shop for Legends news, probably. So without further ado, we are going to be getting into the meat of this episode. Jose, I know that there's more Legends news this week that you had to sit through than normal. But, I mean, in case you can't tell, this is really exciting for us. So this idea that we have for this episode is to, basically get into how would you get started with Legends if this all is intimidating to you, right? Where would you even start? Now, Freddie, let's say somebody's joining us. They're listening to this. A friend said, listen, I'm going to download this podcast on your phone. You have to listen to it because I want you to join me in my fandom. Introduce what even is Legends. What's the difference here between Legends and canon?
Yeah, so actually my friend Monica messaged me after watching one day and she's like, what is this? What are you guys talking about? I don't get it. So I said, maybe an introduction to Legends. What is it? So Legends is a series of books that came out. Actually, Legends is older than, I should say, the EU is older than the actual movies themselves. It came
like
out
the
6
cooler
months.
uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
So
like the uncle that buys you beer.
between, I wouldn't say the first release, which was the novelization of the first movie, was November 12th, 1976, and they stopped. They it was like a cold, it was like a refresh, right? A refresh because Disney came in. There was a whole thing with that, so they stopped around April 25th, 2014, and any book that was published in that time span is now considered Legends, aka not no longer canon. So that's what Legends is, and that's what we're talking about here. Just like this book right here. See that? Juicy Bakura.
That's right. Absolutely. I do have a great clarification here in the chat. Messed this up big time. So thanks to Average Joe 1990 because I got the name wrong on the Crimson Empire figure. The character's name is Kir Kanos. So mess that up. Carnor Jax, I believe, is a villain in that series. It's been 10 years since I've read that. So we're due for a reread. Maybe once we got the action figure in our hands, we'll take a look at that. So thanks for being here with us live. So why you gotta be live? You can catch us on our mistakes because they happen every now and then, every now and then, not all the time, but sometimes. Yeah, that's a great explanation there, Freddie. I appreciate that. And of course, if you're wanting more information about this, we got all kinds of guides over on utini.com, how to get started with Star Wars books, what is canon versus legends. We got YouTube videos on it. I would like to consider us the best source on the internet for helping out with these kinds of questions. And let's be honest, we're deep in the weeds on this stuff. We're talking about short stories the unpublished stories that we have to publish ourselves because we love this stuff so much. We are deep in the weeds. All right, I own probably 450 Star Wars books at this point, and not everybody is. And I want to clarify that's okay, right? And on the one hand, you don't have to be. You don't ever have to be. Jose, if you only ever read 10 Legends books in your entire life, that's fine with me. All right, I might deliver you one for Christmas because I want you to read it, but it doesn't make you any less of a Star Wars fan. I think that's important to clarify, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, because you can still love all the characters in the franchise, and there's just so much available in terms of just movies, TV shows, like all sorts of media, right? So there's no right or wrong way to get into Star Wars fandom, and I think that Legends or canon or whatever, like it's just all of it is interesting and good in its own way. So
yeah, find what
or
appeals
video
to
games,
you
whatever
and
you want to
dive
do.
in. That's right. Cheryl says something great here, and I think this has happened to all of us. And she says that anytime somebody asks her about Star Wars Legends, they instantly regret it as she rattles off an explanation. And I can relate, and you're in the right place. Absolutely in the right place. Now, here's the deal, Freddie. With Legends, I think a lot of people will make a mistake, and that is one of two things. And this episode is to kind of rectify that, right? One, they will start at the beginning chronologically, right? And I like this book. I consider it a solid, B+ book. And the earliest Legends book is Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void. Now, here's the problem with this book. It is almost not Star Wars. It's so different. They were reinventing the universe in this 10,000 years before the films. There's
I think it's like 25,000 years or something like
maybe
that.
so. Yeah, the lightsabers are attached to backpacks. The Force is called Ashla. I mean, it's bonkers. The Jedi are called Jedi, right? I like the way that you say it, Jose, on Star Wars Archives. You got that
Jedi? I don't remember how I said that.
That accent I like. All right. Here's the deal. It's good, but I'm not sure that I would want to keep reading Legends if I slogged through what was kind of a dense, complex, unfamiliar book. So the other main mistake I think a lot of people make when they start with Legends is what our CEO and founder, Corey, did, is pick up one random Legends book and just dive in. Know nothing about the characters, the story, the ongoing arc. I think famously he read the last book of the Legacy of the Force series. Is that right? Was it Fate of the Jedi? No, Legacy of the Force. I hope he's screaming at me behind his monitor. And I think it was I, Jedi, right? He says I, Jedi was his favorite book. He just picked it up at random, and it ignited his passion for all of this. Anyway.
Pretty sure that's correct.
Thankfully, in his case, it paid off because he was like, I've got to know more. However, in my experience with friends, that's not often the case. Not everybody can be a Corey Holton. Let's be honest, in a lot of ways. So do you think those are the two most common mistakes with Legends, Freddie?
Yeah. You can't start from the beginning. And
some do,
and you can do that. You honestly, you can do whatever you want, whatever floats your boat, and there's really no right or wrong way. There's a preferred way, and everyone's gonna have a different route. My preferred way is you start with Trusa Bakura, and if that's what you do, that's what you do. I'm just kidding. That's not probably the best way, but
Was that your first one?
that is my first one actually. That
Yeah.
was my first one, and it was by accident that it was my first one. But it really depends, right? You can go publication order, which is what I've suggested to a lot of people. Just get into the weirdness, and then you'll start, Jedi Academy trilogy. You'll start to see everything being tied together a little bit, and that's when things start to reference each other, and that's when it becomes more canon within
Starts
each
to
other.
snowball. Yeah.
Exactly. So once you get into Jedi Academy trilogy, you can just keep moving on from there.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to read chronologically post Return of the Jedi than it is starting at the very beginning of the timeline. However, your second book in the timeline is one of my favorites. If you go chronologically that way with Lost Tribe of the Sith, but by the time you get to any other books that it ties into, you're like, what, 200 books later? Because it's the very beginning of the timeline and the very end with Fate of the Jedi. So you would totally miss out on any connections because it would probably take you, 10 or 20 years to get there, depending on your reading speed. So, I've said, we talked about Freddy's start with Legends. My first Legends book was probably one of the Young Jedi Knights books, probably Heir to the Force. It's got a name like that. There's a lot of heirs to things in Star Wars. Also read like the Jedi Apprentice books early on, Jedi Quest, some of those young readers. Read the Jedi Academy books early on. I don't know exactly which one was first. But how about you, Jose? What's your history with Legends? You've said you've read a few.
Yeah, I've read four Legends books. I've read, I think the first one was Bane, Path of Destruction. And then Plagueis. And then I read Kenobi, and I think then I randomly chose Fate of the Jedi Outcast, the first one.
Okay, well, at least those first three, like those are kind of big Legends staples, big blockbusters.
Yeah.
Of Legends, the greatest hits, if you will. Absolutely, those are good ones to start with. Did you have a favorite out of those?
The Bane one I really enjoyed.
Yeah. You didn't read the whole trilogy.
Was that?
You didn't read the whole trilogy?
No, not yet. So here's the thing. This is why I just jump around a lot. I mean, I don't follow any order. I also just get a lot of my books from the library. So it just depends on whatever's available.
I love that nonchalant attitude. Like, let's see what Legends is going to fall in my lap today.
Basically. I mean, that is how I ended up with Fate of the Jedi. Because I'm like, that was the only book that was like available that day. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'll dip into this one and see what's going on.
Swing.
And then I'm like, okay, so Luke has a son. I've heard about this. So
yeah, Luke has a son. Whoa, doesn't have a wife anymore. What happened there? All right. Got some great answers here in the chat. Cheryl says she was so lucky in her first pick of Heir to the Empire. And I would say, yeah, I didn't get to Heir to the Empire till 20 years, 10, 15 years into my Legends fandom. I was scared of shirtless Sabayoth. All right. Like, I don't know about this guy. A little bit suspicious.
That's the thing, Jared, about Star Wars canon or Legends. It doesn't matter. Everyone has that memory of their first, right? And like mine is Trusa Bakura back in like 1998.
Yeah.
And you have yours, and I was gonna say Joxy. Jose, you have yours as well, and everybody has their start, right? And that's what I like about Star Wars. Everyone has their story of the story.
Well, my first book, I mean, it's not a Legends one. The first Star Wars book was Catalyst.
Ooh.
So that was,
Lucino, though, he's a Legends guy. We'll take it. It counts.
Yes.
All right.
But that was a dense one to start with, and I'm like,
it is.
Yeah.
Man, I was so excited for that. I read the whole thing in like 3 days. So excited for Rogue One. Woo! Yeah. Good times. I think I just ordered the hardcover of that yesterday.
Oh, nice.
We'll see when it gets here. Either I did or I didn't. What else we got here? Jacob says that his first was Outbound Flight, which we're going to be covering soon. Probably going to be our May book. I think we've talked about it. Not sure we finalized it. So spoiler alert, it either is or it isn't. We've also got Jarrett says that his was Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Ooh, there's a good one. We've got a fun episode on that. We recorded what, a year and a half ago. Definitely worth checking out. Episode 8, something like that. Would highly recommend if that's a favorite. What else we got here? Shadows of the Empire from Skooma Joe, which is exciting. We're going to be tackling that before too long. planning kind of a crossover event on that, trying to get some different departments from Utini involved, because it was like a big publishing program, and we're looking at doing that too. Now, I wanted to ask about where you started with this so that we can kind of keep you going right in the right direction. Freddie, have you ever successfully gotten someone into Legends? I mean, obviously, we've got our podcast. There's a number of people who have. Timothy on the team definitely started with kind of following along with us. But have you ever like handed somebody and it successfully converted them to Legends?
I I've handed a lot of people Chusei Bakura. Every time I see a copy, I buy it. I have to, and so I've given it out to a lot of people. By the way, Melissa, if you don't have one, I've got one for you too.
Good. You're not too far from me either, so
no, exactly. So I'll have to give that to you one day. But
yeah, California is a small state.
Well, but he's literally not that far.
Yeah,
we're both in Southern California, about an hour's drive. So because of traffic.
and I always, one thing I always start with is the heavy hitters like Heir to the Empire or some of the foundational 5 to really get into, and they seem to like it. I don't say they get as into it as I am, of course. We host a podcast and a stream about Legends books, so not too many though. A lot of people think it's weird. I sometimes I accidentally show them the first few Marvel comics that come out, and what is it, episode or number 7 when it starts to get a little wonky.
Yeah, I've got a friend who I kind of got into Legends. My friend Carrie. I gave him probably Heir to the Empire. Could have been Revenge of the Sith. One of the foundational 5, the starting places. And eventually he was kind of pulling a Joxy. He was going rogue on me. And he was just getting stuff in the library. And he was reading he read all on Marvel Unlimited. He read all the old school Marvel comics. And then he was reading Heir to the Jedi. And I was like, all right, hard stop. I got to get you right back on the course here. No, those are fine in their own right. More power to you. I love this comment from Wes in the chat. He says, yeah, Freddie, have you ever slipped someone Legends from your big white windowless van? Hey, kid, want some Legends? Love that. No, I think this is a fun thing to be able to successfully ignite someone's, we are the spark that'll light the Legends fire, to get somebody going on this. So, there's a few different ways to do it, right? You can either go chronologically. We've discussed, the pros and cons of that. We have talked about jumping in at random. Can work, doesn't always. Another thing that has been mentioned here in the chat is going in publication order. And as has been astutely pointed out by, Average Joe? Somebody around here said that if you go with chronological order, well, in terms of publishing order, then your first book is, I guess you could start with the original film novelization, which I think Meg is reading right now. Is that right, Meg? You're reading the original A New Hope?
I am, and I'm like 20 pages in, and it's great.
Have you gotten to the duck yet? There's a duck.
No, but I'm waiting for it.
Okay,
Here's
yeah.
the duck.
Luke says, "What's a duck?" Which is fun. It's the only thing I remember about the whole book. It's also pretty short. And then your next book after that would be Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and I mean, good and unique in their own way. Positivity, not necessarily what I'm gonna really want to keep going with Legends. There's better starting places. We'll put it that way. Now, one thing that we've never really talked about on Legends Lookback is Utini's patented foundational 5. 4, I believe, of the 5 in the foundational 5 are Legends books. Is that right, Freddie?
Yeah, I believe so. We've got Lost Stars, we've got Darth Bane, Episode 3, Thrawn, and Kenobi. Yeah,
so what? 2.5 there are...
I said Thrawn, but Heir to the Empire.
yeah, Heir to the Empire. So 1.5 are canon, depending on how we count Revenge of the Sith. I claim it as Legends. Because if you actually take your time through it, it's got some stuff that doesn't quite fit with canon.
Well, I read that one, so there's a 4.5 for me.
All right. Yeah, it's got a lot of, as we mentioned in the lightsabers episode, a lot of lightsaber stance lore, lightsaber form lore. Mace Windu, the reason he gets defeated in the duel with Palpatine is he's so focused on nerding out on his Vapad form that he's left vulnerable. Anyway. So with the Foundational 5, we've never really talked about it much. I've got to say, out of all the Star Wars books I've ever loaned to friends, in high school, my hardcover copy of Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil, it made its way all around my lunch table. it just I didn't have it on my shelves for like 3 years. My buddies were all just handing it off to one another, and I'm very happy with that. Now these things have become collectible, so like mine's well read at this point. It's still fine. The dust jacket is not ripped, but I would not loan it out anymore. I'm giving them the paperback for sure, for sure. You've mentioned that Bane was one of your favorites. It was one of your favorites. What did you like about it, Joxy? Why did it grip you? We gotta get some
Dark side
beats here. You're a dark side guy.
I think so. I think that's been established also in my Star Wars archives that I tend to lean dark side because I don't think it's evil.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, the preacher in me is like, I'm gonna have to do something about this guy. All right, how'd you do with Plagueis? It's also a dark side book.
I enjoyed it. It was a little slow, and I just didn't like him so much as a character. I like this. I like the scientific approach to the Force. So that part I kind of really appreciated. But there was just something about it that I just kind of like. It was a little hard to get through.
I consider it both a masterpiece and an absolute disaster at the same time. And I mean that in the most loving way possible. It's probably one of my most revisited books. I love sinking my teeth into that.
Yeah.
But it is messy. It's dense.
Yeah, so there was just times where I'm like, wait, who was this person? Like, I don't know. There was just something about it that kind of like it was not it didn't flow as neatly as some of the other Star Wars books that I've read, but it was still interesting enough because of like his approach and a lot of the theories that he had of how like the Force works and how you can like, that essence and everything, how you can maybe pull it out and use it for other things. So that part really intrigued me, and that's why I really liked it. But the way that it was written didn't flow perfectly, for me.
It doesn't flow perfectly, which is why it's fun. Is like you gotta really kind of work on. You gotta achieve the victory of finishing that book. It does not finish itself. We'll put it that way. All right. Taking notes. Dark Side and Science. You liked those, okay? Yeah. But maybe not recommending a Lucino.
Well, I mean,
how'd you like Catalyst?
I liked the plot points and everything there, but again, I think also for a first book, it was one of the ones that is like, yeah, maybe this wasn't the best first one to get into, but I mean, I kept going. But that was also just there was just a lot of information. It was dense, right? I mean, I think that's what Lucino is known for, from what I've learned.
Sure.
But I did like it overall.
All right, taking my Lucino books off the shelves. Not going to recommend these. No. All right, so here's what we're going to try to do. Obviously, we've talked about a few different ways that you can approach Legends. You can go with chronological option. You can go with the publishing order option. You can go with the random library, whatever's on the shelves option. None of those are optimal. Now, here's 2 ways that I consider better. One, Meg, I want your help with this. You can start with a character or an era or a theme that you'd like. I wrote down Dark Side and Science. All right, so we don't have a science collection. It'd be fun if we did. Scientific Legends books. That would be neat. Again, if you stick them in a test tube, they'll explode, which is fun.
Well, it's just like it's when Star Wars tries to go a little bit more sci-fi, right? Because Star Wars I don't consider it sci-fi. It's more space fantasy. So when it tries to dip into the sci-fi part, then I find it really interesting because I'm just in general into sci-fi. So I think that's also why I appreciate those.
Okay, Teresa Bakura might have to be a rec. Okay, I'll steal that one, and it'll be my rec, and not Freddie's. Then he'll be left with no recommendations. It's like in the draft when one team doesn't actually need a quarterback, but they're going to take the quarterback, so the team that needs a quarterback can't get a quarterback. Whew. Nice, all right, so now we can, of course, recommend something personally, and that's what we're doing tonight. But before we get there, before we jump the gun, Meg, where can people find personalized reading, almost personalized, curated, custom curated, that's a better way to say it, reading collections all about their favorite Star Wars character or favorite Star Wars era or favorite Star Wars theme?
Utini.com.
There we go. / what? You got this.
At utini.com/collections, you will find.
Wait, where? Yeah, we've got over 100 at this point. Is that right, Meg?
Yeah, over 100, I think, with many more to come. I promise. it's literally like our goal, and we're constantly adding more. And if you ever want to request one, just get in touch with one of us somehow, and it'll get back to me. If there's a character you like, or a theme that you like, or you have a favorite Star Wars movie and you want to read more books about that thing, like collections are there so that we can guide you through, like, from whatever your starting point is, to more books that you can read and more things that you can enjoy. So
Yeah, and that's a good point. That hey, if there's something that you're interested in, we can add it to the list. It could totally potentially make it. No promises. Juliana, one of our big fans and friends, what's up, Juliana? She recommended that we do a Tennoka Joe collection, and we did it. We made it. You know, right? Just she's a high-ranking patron, so there's that. All right, money gets you a long way with us. Credits. But the fun thing, of course, is you want to read about Darth Maul, you can get comics recommendations on Darth Maul, novels. We got Darth Maul short stories. We got a Darth Maul novella. We got canon Darth Maul, Legends Darth Maul, the top half of Darth Maul, the bottom half of Darth Maul, crazy Darth Maul. We've got all of the recommendations you could possibly look for, and we explain like what some of the different recommendations are. It's not just a list. We've also got some very well written, I would say, material out there on the site. So that's one way to go. Hey, if our recommendations for Joxy on the show tonight are not for you, check those out. We got over 100. There's a ton and more on the way. I just started writing one today. Can I tease this, Meg? You teased it. Can I tease it?
fine.
It's happening.
Go for
It's
it.
happening. I'm writing a Jackson the Rabbit collection.
Nice.
I'm hoping to have it out in time for Easter so that I can deliver you, just like the Easter Bunny hopping around your yard, a Legends collection. Oh, it's got canon too, but he was Legends first. All right. Now, here's the most fun way.
Wait.
Go ahead.
If you're doing the Jackson collection, and you're also not recommending books for me, there should be a Joxy collection
Ooh.
in the website.
So the ones that we recommend tonight could be a Joxy.
Also, the name already kind of sounds like it, so it just sort of like.
I'll pitch it to the team lead on collections and let her know what she thinks. All right. She just so happens to be right here. It's Meg. Spoiler alert. It's Meg. Now, here's, I think, the most fun and gratifying way, and also the most potential for catastrophe, is a custom curated recommendation. We are going to be recommending a specific list of books just for you based off of your interests. And before we do that, though, let's take a quick break. Everybody hang in there with us. And when we come right back, we are going to give Jose his custom curated Legends recommendations. We'll be right back.
Am I live? Cool. All right. So we're gonna ask Joxy some questions here.
Your face coming in, man. It's like
I wasn't sure if there was a
You're-
countdown. I wasn't sure what was going on. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna see how this goes.
it was like that is it like the gopher or whatever, that like meme gif thing that just like kind of looks at the camera like that's what you just look like, man.
we're gonna have to snip that, make it
Yes, I haven't done
GIF
gifs in a
and/or
while.
GIF, however you
GIF.
like it.
GIF is peanut butter.
I do love peanut butter.
Oh, well, but you don't. Peanut butter doesn't move like that repeatedly.
So I got some questions for you, Joxy, because that's what I'm calling you from now on. Because I think it just flows. It just sounds nice. I like it.
Within the Utiniverse, I am Joxy. That is correct. So that's fine. And I'm just a voice over your screen right now. So you can also just, I can be your god that you talk to right now.
All right. So I want to get a little bit more of what you like in Star Wars, so we know what kind of books to recommend to you.
Yep.
And I think we're going to start with one. What is your who is your favorite character? We'll go with that one.
Yeah, let's just start with an easy question. Sure. Favorite character. I did just record an episode for Star Wars Archives where we talked about droids, and I do very much like K2SO. I don't know if that's my favorite character overall. That might be Kylo Ren actually at the moment. So let's just say Kylo Ren is my favorite character.
Okay, Kylo Ren with or without a shirt?
Kylo Ren, full on Kylo Ren with the mask, the
Yeah.
hood. I mean, I do want to walk around Los Angeles wearing like his whole getup. So it includes the hood and everything and a shirt. So yeah.
Cool. I like it. I'll do the without the shirt. You can do with everything on.
That's
We'll figure
fine.
something out. Okay. So out of all the films, which one is your favorite?
I go between Empire and Force Awakens. Force Awakens, I tend to say it's my favorite lately, just because it's kind of like what reignited my love of Star Wars. So, and like with the originals, you kind of I grew up with them. So I knew what was going to happen anyways. With Force Awakens, I had no idea really where they were going to take this series or the new trilogy. So there's just all good feelings associated with watching that movie in theaters when it came out.
So when you saw the first movies, right, for the original trilogy for the first
Mhm.
time, did you actually know what happened, or were you going into it pretty fresh? What was your story behind that?
I can't say because I've been watching them since I was a kid, so like I just feel like it's just part of pop culture to know that like Vader is, spoiler alert, Luke's dad, right? Like if people get in front of a fan and go, Luke, I am your father and stuff like that, right? So it's just like those big reveals are just part of the general like knowledge. So
Yeah.
they were not as impactful in like when I watched them, right? So so I mean I think that's just, and even with the prequels, like right now I've learned to appreciate what the prequels are, but I knew where they were gonna go because we already had the original trilogy. So I think that's when I rank all the movies or think about which ones I liked and which ones more than the others, I tend to really enjoy the new trilogy just because I just wasn't sure where they were gonna go with it ever, really. Especially they're
Yeah.
changing directors and writers like they did. So I'm like, I don't know what they're gonna do next.
That's true. There was a lot of director changes
Yeah.
and script changes, and the typical Hollywood treatment.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that is thinking about it in that sense, I see where you're going with it. And believe it or not, I actually do have a couple of friends who barely found out, maybe just even a few months ago, that Luke and Darth Vader are related. So
What?
spoiler alert if you're
How
watching
is that
the
even
show.
possible? I mean, I know I'm pretty obsessed with pop culture, so I feel like maybe that's also just why I'm like knew this. But come on, man, like it's been referenced in so many things. Like you have to live under a rock to like not know that that's a thing.
That friend was Patrick. Just kidding. It wasn't Patrick.
Patrick Starfish. Yeah.
Okay. I see where you're going now. First of all, canon character is Kylo Ren. I like Kylo Ren. He's very menacing, and he reminds me of Revan in a sense. So
Mhm.
I like him as a character.
I'm very
Buff-
curious about Revan because of like what I like his mask.
Mhm.
So I've and from what I've heard about him, like it's a character that I do want to like learn more about.
I'm pretty sure, Meg, we've got a collection of that, so
Yeah.
we'll pinpoint you to that one.
Yeah, I think that we can actually do something with the Kylo Ren pick. That being one of his favorite characters, I think can actually help us in curating a recommendation. I've got something in mind. If you like Kylo Ren, there's a Legends character who might be for you.
Good,
Oh, yeah.
because I think I even asked Trev. So because we did a Kylo Ren episode for my birthday earlier this year, and I think I even asked him like, so what's the most legendsy Kylo Ren? And I don't know if we got an answer for that because we probably just went on to talk about just the Force in general on a tangent. But yes, now I want to see what your pick is for this.
Cool. All right. So let's move to the next question. I think this one's pretty. I like this one. So, what is going on there? I have no idea.
I'll try to fix it.
Okay, no problem. Okay, favorite non-Star Wars book and movie. I know. So this one's a big one because I know you're a movie guy. So let's do it.
I'll give you the book first because I think that's definitely more fresh in my mind. But let's go with Dune as favorite book. And that did inspire the spice and everything in Star Wars, so there's that connection. But favorite movie, geez, that's not an easy question to ask me, dude. I always say my top, like on my top 5, I always go with like Edward Scissorhands, Jurassic Park. Sometimes I'd say Empire, sometimes I say Force Awakens. What else do I typically say? Donnie Darko would be another one on my top.
Okay.
So there's a few there.
I think I might win this challenge, Jared. That's all I gotta say.
So yeah, let's go with those.
All right. So I think we're getting Jared's video fixed up here, so we'll keep jabbing away. And I know, so one of the things that I do see often, especially in your Instagram, is history, the history in your pictures of different video or different movies that were filmed, different landmarks that were in movies. Is there one in particular that is it like you go to often, or it's more of an impact to you?
Not particularly. It's just one of those things that like so I've only been living out here in LA for 3 years, and one of them being within this pandemic, right? So but it's just a thing that like there's just so much that has been filmed around here. And actually just I live like 2 minutes away from where a lot of the houses from Back to the Future were filmed, right? So I have this Google Maps where I've been finding where all these places were filmed or all these movies were filmed in, and then if I have a day off, then I'll just go there and like try to mimic the shot of like that house or that one scene and just compare it. So that's, I guess, one of my hobbies. I mean, none of them. Oh, Blade Runner will be another top one for me. So I've gone to, there's a few houses here that Frank Lloyd Wright designed back in the early 1900s with just like concrete textile blocks that have been, those were like the basis of the house of Deckard's house in Blade Runner, also used in Westworld for one of the houses there. Wow. So it's just kind of fun that a house from the 1900s is used to represent something from the future. But yeah.
Well, Jared,
right. I think with those, I think that's given us some good recommendations.
All right.
I'm excited. Now the only Star Wars archaeology thing I can think of is canon. Unfortunately, this is the archaeologist Sith Lord Darth Momin. have you read? You heard about him?
I don't think so.
He's in Charles Soule's Darth Vader run. Which
Oh.
is absolutely one of the best Star Wars comics.
Yes, I did. No, I did read that. I guess it's been a while, but I didn't remember him. But
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I said archaeologist. I meant architect.
yeah, because archaeologists you would have Dr. Afra and a whole
Yeah,
bunch
yeah, I
more.
meant architect.
And
That's what you
Afra
did.
is.
Right.
Oh, I do like Afra a lot too. So there's another one there. But
Yeah, too
Okay.
bad we don't like her. She's not good Legends. All right. No. I do. I like her a
spunky
lot.
with a little bit of like that's where I tend to go. Is when people are just too good, it's just not that interesting for me.
So you like spunky female characters?
I thought you were gonna say Gariel Captason is your number one favorite character, but I guess not. So
Well, he hasn't read Truce at Bakura yet, has he?
No.
No. He might say it when he comes back. So here's the idea.
I
all
do
right?
need to read
This
that.
is-
Trev told me about that, and I'm like,
You
some
sound
things about
interested.
that book.
All right,
and I
so
need
here's
to
the
read
game.
that.
All right, this is the challenge. Now, this
All
is
right.
fun because we've got to be patient in order to have the fulfillment of this challenge. Freddie and I are both going to give you 3 Legends recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to choose at least one from each of our lists. You can choose more, but you have to choose at least one in order for this to work.
Okay.
And then once you've had time to read them, I'm going to say a reasonable amount of time would be 6 months. All right, you've got other books to read.
Oh
you've got
yeah,
other things going on in life.
That's reasonable.
We're going to have you back on the show for a follow-up.
All
And we are going to find out who won. So here's the catch. You have to read these intoxicated. No, okay, no, you don't have to do that. Don't have to do that. But the catch is
I'll get
this.
started right
Neither
now.
Freddie nor I can recommend any books from the Foundational 5. So obviously, 4 out of those 5 are Legends books. So we cannot recommend Heir to the Empire, which is a starting place for a lot of people. You, of
I
course,
wanna
have
read
already
that
read
one
Bane.
already.
You've already read Bane.
Mm-hmm.
What else is off limits then? Revenge of the Sith, you've read. So I guess none of them count anyway, right? Kenobi, you've read Kenobi. So we're good.
Mhm.
We're clear. All right, we're in the clear. So outside of the Foundational 5, and we're going to be giving away at the end of this episode, or at next week's episode, next week, a week from now, you can head over to our Twitter. You can retweet and like and all that good stuff. We're going to be giving away the Star Wars Legends Starter Pack. And so, including a Legends Lookback sticker designed by Joxy himself. I said divined, as if it just opened up out of the heavens
I divined it.
into your Legends laps. So he said, I do divine things. I love that.
It just come
So,
out of the ether.
These books, all right, if you're a Legends super fan and you're listening to this and you're typing, I already own those books. Well, that's the point. These are specifically for somebody who is not a Legends person in order for them to become a Legends person. Now, these books are not just straight from the Foundational 5. We're going to be giving away, what books are those, Freddie? You were showing them off.
Truce at Bakura.
Right. I told you to buy Kenobi and you bought a Truce at Bakura. Fine. It's fine. You would. And the Rogue
X-Wing.
Squadron. Okay.
Rogue
Squadron,
Squadron.
the first in a 10-book series. So just to get you started.
And of
Your
course,
gateway drug. And Heir to the Empire. You got the old cover. And
Yep.
no Legends banners on these either. No Legends banners, which I
of
appreciate.
course.
And the Legends Look Back sticker. That's right. So these are what you could win or what you could have a friend win. Or you could win them and then give them to a friend, but you better give them to a friend because these are specifically to be read by somebody who might be getting started in Legends. I think all 3 of these books we're giving away are excellent starting places in Legends. None of them are necessarily the perfect starting place other than Heir of the Empire, which probably is. However, of course, these are perfectly good starting places. You don't have to have read any other Legends books in order to read these. So, Freddie, I'm going to let you go with your first pick. We'll go back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What is your first recommendation for Jose?
So I've got 5 books here.
Nope,
And I
gotta do
would-
3. Gotta do 3. Can't do 5. Can't do 5. Narrow it down.
So I've been trying to see what you were saying during your favorites, and I feel like this one might hit well for you, but it's Shadows of the Empire.
Okay. Tell me about
All
it.
right. Well, I'm not going to tell you too much, but there's a
You
lot
gotta
of
Don't
pitch
spoil
it.
it. I haven't read it yet. It's one of
Okay.
the dozen Legends books I haven't read. I'm
Non-spoilery
saving it for
pitch.
last.
Ooh, this is a good one. So let me just say there's a lot of underground. You've got the Black Sun.
Okay.
You've
I
got
like
Prince
that.
Prince Shizor, who is, in my opinion, one of my favorite characters.
And I just think of a Pokemon when you say that name.
So Prince Shizor, he is the leader of the Black Sun. He's a feline, I believe.
Is that a cat-like creature?
Does he
No,
has
they're
claws,
reptilian.
right?
They're lizard-like.
He's
Why
got
is it
claws. He's a
Feline,
lizard.
feline. Come on, you missed it.
The
Come on,
Feline,
Star Wars.
they exhibit pheromones in order to brainwash people into doing what they want them to do.
Ooh.
It's super problematic.
All right.
It's great. You're gonna love it.
I like that.
Yeah. So this is number one for me. So if you pick one, pick this one.
All right.
Wait, that was what? I should be writing this down.
It's all right.
We'll send it to you.
Yeah,
We'll make a.
Well, I need to pick. No.
Yeah. We'll send you a list. Okay, so on the one hand, Freddie, that's a really good recommendation because we're going to be doing a roundtable on it. Hopefully this summer. We're working on coordinating it with some other team members, but that's coming up this year, so you could participate. You could even be our guest. Who knows?
Jared, why are you pitching his book to me? Don't you want to win?
Because I love Legends. All right, I just like this stuff. Okay, come on.
And I want some drama here.
even with me talking up his books, my picks are still going to win. How about that? All right,
there we go. That's what I want.
Honestly, I can't say one way or the other because wait, Freddie, my pick is next.
Oh, okay.
And now I can't say one way or the other because I haven't read Shadows yet. So I'm also interested. I'm like, sell me on it, please.
Yeah.
My first pick is Outbound Flight by Timothy Zahn. This is our upcoming May roundtable. So once again, you could be caught up to read it with us, talk about it, listen to the episode, and actually know what we're talking about. This is the Legends Introduction to Thrawn with an asterisk.
Ooh.
Because I think there's a short story, Mist Encounter, that's actually now been adapted into the opening chapter of the first canon Thrawn trilogy book, just called Thrawn. So complicated. Anyway, Outbound Flight has Obi-Wan and Anakin, so it's some Clone Wars. It's familiar for you. They're on a mission into the unknown regions on a big caravan of settlers. It's very similar to what we've got going on in this new Chaos Rising, the Thrawn Ascendancy trilogy. Very similar vibe. It's got the Legends introduction of Admiral Aralani, who has now been recanonized. And
you're saying all the right things here because Thrawn is another one of my favorite ones. So
yeah, I got that in the chat. You didn't say that. I read that. All right, so I'm cheating. I'm reading the footnotes. And one other selling point: it's got Sabayoth, but it's got the original, the real Sabayoth. You know what I'm saying? All right, so
does he still have a good ab regimen?
It's been a while since I've read it, so we're gonna have to find out. I just purchased it I just got another copy the other day, so looking forward to diving into that. So that's my first recommendation: Outbound Flight versus Shadows of the Empire. Two very different books. What's up next, Freddie?
So up next is a classic, and I almost didn't want to show it, but I feel like a lot of people do like this book, so I'm going to go with X-Wing Rogue Squadron. So if you're into the flight, the dogfights, the romances, the backstabbing, this is the book for you. Corin Horn is in it.
Yeah,
Horn's in it.
Oh. That's my detractor. That's my
I liked Alphabet Squadron. So there's that. Romance. I mean, I do like Dark Disciple is one of my top novels as well. So if there is romance, then I'm gonna enjoy that. Here.
Oh yeah, that's a
Love
good recommendation.
Triangle.
I'm trying not to talk up Freddie's pick. I've got good things to say. I have nothing.
Go ahead, Jared.
Okay, I'm rereading them because we're about to be covering them on the show. It's next week. Next week we're doing an X-Wing extravaganza. And oh man, they're so good, man. They're so good. If you like the quirky ladies, not quirky. What's the word? What do we say?
Spunky is what I had said earlier.
Ladies. It's got the best Legends spunky ladies, don't you think, Freddie?
It does. It really does, and it's got that '90s vibe. The I keep calling it. What is it? The slow motion. What's that?
Every chapter ends in a freeze frame high five.
The Baywatch thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Every character's overpowered.
Yeah. It's basically that. That's my second book.
All right. Oh, these are such good picks. I'm having so much fun. I forgot to pick a second one. I'm so excited. All right. My second pick is Legacy of the Force Betrayal. This is specifically chosen because you like Kylo Ren. This really gets into angsty, Sithy, Ben's. No, hold on. Wrong Solo. Wrong Skywalker. I got this. Which one is it? Jason Solo. There it is. Yeah. All right. It is him having just saved the galaxy. He's a hero. And that does something to
Yes.
you. That does something to you. And he kind of arrives at. Oh, and you remember this because you guys talked about it on Star Wars Archives.
Mhm.
It's got the Dark Lady of the Sith, Lumaya, making her comeback. One of Luke's
Yes.
ex-girlfriends. Yeah,
Yes. That
you're
one.
already interested.
That's a good
Okay.
one.
He's liking
That's a
my
good
picks. Ready?
one.
Last pick. This number 3 for you.
These are all pretty good, man. I gotta admit, all of these books are really good. So last pick, I feel like I'd be doing myself a disservice if I didn't recommend this book, and it is True Sepakura, and I do have that book right in that shelf waiting for you. I'm gonna hand it to you in person.
I'll come by next Friday on my day off, and you're like 6 feet apart. Just throw it at me, and
so True Sepakura is right after the events. I would say almost right after the events of Return of the Jedi. So
Mhm.
if you watch the movie, you hop into the book. I mean, there's really no difference. It's I would say a few days after. I can't recall exactly, but if you're thinking sci-fi, right? Sci-fi with Star Wars, which you think Star Wars is sci-fi, but it's more fantasy than anything.
exactly.
But this is sci-fi. You've got lizards, smart lizards that are taking the souls of people and putting them in robots. And you've got a love interest for, I would say, Luke's second love interest other than Leia.
Wait, which one was this?
This is
'Cause,
Gary. Yeah, Gariel Captison, which is
Man, I think she's way down the list from there. But she was a great character when I reread it. When I read it, a few months ago. I did enjoy her. It was a good book.
yeah,
Not
so
great, but good.
if you're looking for I mean, this is a classic to me, but I've got it for you. I will hand it to you. It is one of my favorite books. It's probably not one of the best ever Star Wars written books, but it is the most sci-fi one that I've read in a long time. So
No,
That's a good.
Go ahead.
That's a good pitch.
it's
man.
very sci-fi.
And-
It's very sci-fi. He is already interested in that one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
I
this
was
much,
already
Art, I'm gonna-
interested, so that's kind of like cheating, right?
Well, I did the same, so no. I am going to down it a little bit. I read it for the first time ever, for the show, and didn't love it. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I think maybe if I had read it in the 90s, I would have liked it more.
Mm.
So for me, it didn't quite land. It didn't quite land, but it does have dinosaurs, and that's fun.
Wait,
Who else has dinosaurs?
Hold
Go ahead.
on.
You ruined my transition.
Well, no, with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
wanted to
dinosaurs.
be a paleontologist when I was a kid. So I mean Jurassic Park, dinosaurs. So
dinosaurs.
Warring tribes of dinosaurs, one of which injects the souls of the other dinosaurs into battle droids. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Nailed it. There's. I love Legends. All right, and I will say that if you know what else has dinosaurs, let's try this again. You know what else has
Oh.
dinosaurs?
what?
The
Tell me,
Courtship of
Jared.
Princess Leia. No, this is not my pick. This is Cheryl's pick. Cheryl said that if you like dinosaurs, it has it's got Night Sisters riding Rancors,
Fabio.
which is making a comeback. It's making a comeback.
I
That's
do like My Sisters and
going to
Ventress.
be in. You do like Night Sisters? You like Night Sisters?
Ventress
High
is one of my
Republic number
favorite ones
6.
too. So yes.
Good. Yeah, High Republic number 6 is going to have a Jedi riding a Rancor on the cover.
Mhm.
I just ordered that variant tonight. Or no, I haven't because it's not out yet. It's not up for pre-order. All right, but that's Cheryl's pick. And I do want to make a correction here. Okay. Spiced In is contesting one of my picks. He says Outbound Flight was his pick. I didn't see that. Believe me or not, I can't keep up with every single thing in the chat, especially as I was trying to troubleshoot my camera a few minutes ago. If that was in fact Jacob's pick before mine, we'll give him credit. If you picked that, Jacob somehow would be the dark horse winner tonight. Okay. And of course, we're giving Cheryl's pick and everybody else. If you've got picks for Joxy, if you got picks for Jose, don't just be limited to mine and Freddie's 6 picks. Shout yours out. Anything you think he would like.
Tell me
So,
what
Vector
to
Prime?
read, 'cause I don't
Well,
have
you
enough
can't do
stuff to
4
read
picks,
already.
Freddie. I can count. All right. I may not be able to remember the main character of Crimson Empire, but I can count. All right. I loaned my copy of Victor Prime to my neighbor, and he has a year ago, right before the pandemic. And he hasn't given it back yet. And thinking about
That's not good.
staging a break-in.
Oh my
Hmm.
god.
Anyway, I don't want to get the police called, but I want my book back. You
Just
know
get him
how it is.
entrenched.
I thought about just ordering a new one.
Isn't that pretty like horror, Vector Prime? Like, didn't we? That was one of the ones that we featured back in Halloween when we were doing
Is it a
Maybe.
horror book? Is
Possibly.
it scary?
I
It's
can't
very
remember
hard
now.
sci-fi. There's something terribly horrific that happens in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would put it on the horror list. I
I
mean,
would
it's
say-
got the Yushan Vong, like they're horrific characters.
They
It's
are.
their
They
introduction.
look horrific.
Yeah. Yeah, it originally had a horrific reception by the fan base. The writer
That's a
actually
pretty
lives in
horrible
my town.
cover.
He lives here somewhere in this city,
Oh,
in
wow.
the exact town in which I live. Every time I go to Target, I'm like, sure hope I see Bobby. It's going down. If he's here, I'm gonna take
Hey,
him to the Star
Bobby.
Wars Lego section, and we're gonna talk Star Wars. All right, it has yet to happen. Thankfully, we wear masks now, so I'm even less likely to recognize him. So good for him, but better watch out because I'm so excited to meet him. All right, my final pick tonight is
Mm-hmm.
not a pick that is custom recommended for Joxy himself, as much as it's one of my favorite books, and I think you should read it because you like me, and I think that you're gonna like what I like. All right,
Sure.
and that's Dark Empire. I want you to get in on the Naked Palps jokes. I want you to experience what is absolutely one of the most off-the-wall, controversial, divisive, and yet groundbreaking Star Wars stories ever told. It's being talked about now more than ever because of the rise of Skywalker. Some people are saying it's adapted into the rise of Skywalker. Is that true? You can let me know. I think it's an absolutely excellent story. Every major film character gets their own beat. It totally makes sense that Palpatine wouldn't just be dead when he falls down the shaft. Come on, he conquered the galaxy. This is a guy who knows what he's doing. All right, he was laughing as he fell down that shaft. Come on, you didn't think he was dead, did you? Of course, this is a very controversial book, largely because of its art style. It has this, and as somebody who appreciates art, you go traveling around to see architecture. A wannabe Thrawn, we might say. This book has Cam Kennedy's watercolor style. Some
Great.
people say is not Star Warsy enough. I say it's so trippy that it's a reinterpretation of Star Wars in a really bold way. He didn't play it safe, and I appreciate that. He wasn't trying to make the characters look like their film selves. He was trying to do something unique, and I loved it for that. All right, there's my pitch. Anybody else in the chat? Let's see what we got. John Dutch Vander says, Death Troopers and Red Harvest. Hey, we love
Ooh,
those. Absolutely
yes.
love those. I
Yeah.
just wrote a little bio for those this week for uteen.com. Both of those are good picks. Excellent picks. They're horror. You like
I
horror?
do want to read Death Troopers. That's been on my list for some time.
Yeah.
So good. Red Harvest has a zombie tauntaun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what else we got?
Legends, man.
Anybody else in the chat? Speak now or forever hold your recommendations.
But I mean, hold on. You both picked 3 books, right?
Yeah.
And
You
you're
gotta
giving
pick
me
one.
6 months. Shouldn't
you
I
can
just read all 6 and then come back and then
I'd be
rank
happy with
them
that.
and tell you who won?
Ooh,
I'm
that'd be
trying to be
great.
nice here. Come on my
That'd be
show. I don't want to
great.
embarrass you. I'd like for you to read all 6 by next week. We'll have you back.
That's
on.
not gonna happen by next week.
Okay, not
But if
next
you're
week.
giving me half a year, I mean, that's doable. Somewhat, I think. It's
Good
more about
deal.
if I can
All right.
get them.
Well, I'm excited. Everybody let us know in the chat who's going to win. Hedge your bets now. See, if we were still on Twitch, I know how to do the betting feature. There's a way that you can actually hedge your bets on Twitch. It's a fairly new
yeah?
feature where you can vote like over or under Freddie or Jared who's going to win. You can actually vote with channel points. It's a fun way to do it. I don't know if YouTube probably don't have that. But we can pretend. All right, go ahead and put the number of credits in the chat that you're betting on who is going to win. 1,000 credits on Maze, right? Meg, you've been quiet for a while. Do you want to give any recs?
You should be playing like the Jeopardy music.
I was actually trying to see if I could do a Twitter poll really quick, but never mind.
We'll throw it up later.
do it-
Tomorrow,
yeah.
next week.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Who knows?
I would say there are a couple reasons I'm going to recommend this. It's because it's like my favorite. I haven't read I didn't read a ton of Legends like when I was younger, but I read these. And if you like the Clone Wars and if you like a little bit of romance, the Republic Commando books. Okay, you don't have to read all of them at once.
You should. Yeah, Meg,
But-
read them. Early on in the show, I was like, hey, Meg, would you read all these real quick and come on the show next week? She did, too. She did.
That was great. Yeah, but I highly recommend. They're really good. And I really liked them the first time I read them, and then I read them again, and they were even better the second time. So
Cheryl agrees with my picks. All right. Who else? All right. Hedge your bets. Freddie or me? Who's got the better picks? Or Meg? Hey, Meg's got some picks there. I like that. He's a
That's a
Clone
good
Wars
one.
guy. He likes
Mhm.
Clone Wars. He likes the spunky women. It's got a lot of those. It's even got a
Great.
hermaphroditic
It's like
dog
Jose,
that
the- like
flies.
spunky women.
Oh yeah,
named,
that's right.
Murd,
Weird.
the best character in all of Legends. Oh my goodness. All right. Who else we got? We've got a couple more Recs in the chat here. We've got Jarrett Tyree saying, I can only recommend the one I've read, Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Please. Jose, please read Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Please.
Isn't that the one that like Heather like just chucked out of
Yeah,
the
she,
video?
in our merch promo, she was
Yeah.
reading it, wearing her Legends Lookback shirt that Joxy designed, and then she
Yeah.
just yeeted it across the yard.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
discovered a new vocabulary word, in case you can't tell. And I feel very encouraged by Skooma Joe. For every time I say it, he says it back at me. So,
Yeah, I cannot say that word. It doesn't
all
work.
right. Now we've got the Spice Den saying, what else? Spice Den recommends, if you like Death Troopers and Red Harvest, let's throw in Galaxy of Fear. So we did an episode. Have we? Did we do one? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
We briefly kind of touched on it. We
yeah.
didn't do a roundtable. All right. I'm not gonna say anything negative. All right. So Freddie's showing off his picks. I don't have all three of mine in my hands because I have shelves here and there, and I've already messed up my camera once tonight. So I'm just gonna be very careful and end the show. But this has been a lot of fun. Based off these initial recommendations, which one do you think you're gonna read first, Jose?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I have been curious about Tears of Bakura for some time. So I'm not going to pick that because I already knew about this book.
You can. It's not going to offend
No,
me.
no, no. I'm going to choose
I'm
something else.
coming to
But
California.
that was
in
already
May.
on the
I
list.
may or may not, knock on your door and let you know what's up. But it's not going to offend me.
I'm actually going to pick the second one you said, Jared, with the Thrawn introduction, just because I do very much enjoy Thrawn and Aralani. So
right.
that kind of sold
And that's
it.
coming up soon. So you're
quite a
kind of
bit.
like on the clock. We got to read it by May.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pick that one, and then probably followed by Tears of Bakura, because it's like, again, it's been on my list, and I've heard Freddie talk about it for so long that I just need to do it. And
Outbound Flight is what it's called.
And what
Yeah.
he just described today too, that just sort of like nailed it, that I do need to read that book.
All right. Now the problem is, do I actually get credit for that? Because Jacob says he said it first. I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. But so Jacob, hey, he could have partial credit. We gotta love partial credit.
Yeah.
All right. Definitely a partial credit kind of guy. What else we got here? Those are what you're going to go with next. Everybody, let us know who you think. Who is all right? The chat has delved into nothing but yeets at this point. So no more recommendation. I've ruined everything. Spiced In says he thinks I win. All right, so we got 2-0 on me so far. I like the way this is shaping up, except for every time my sports teams get ahead by 2 in the first quarter, they end up losing. So maybe it's not good. All right, we've had a lot of fun. Remember, we've got a Legends Look Back giveaway going on our Twitter account. You can follow us at Legends Look Back. You can retweet what's going on there. You can like it. You can share it with a friend. You can send it to a neighbor. And of course, Freddie is going to pop those suckers in the mail and send them over to you. We have not discussed whether or not this is international or not. So for the moment, we're going to say U.S. only, but we'll think about it. All right, we'll think about it. Freddie's the one who's having to ship it, so we'll see what his budget looks like. All right. Any other Legends recommendations? Speak now or forever hold your peace. This is your last chance with Joxy.
All the recommendations so far have been really good, though. So
yeah, I think we've recommended
I
good ones
applaud
across the
both
board.
of you. I mean, well, and Meg too. All of them sound like something that I would want to read at some point. Out of the 200 that are available, I would probably those are good ones to start with.
Absolutely, yeah. And at the
to
end of
add
the year,
to
we'll
a
do a
collection.
YouTube video, Joxy's top 10, where he counts down his top 10 Legends books that he's read in the last year. That'd be fun. Some good YouTube content. Let's throw that over to the YouTube folks. So that does it for this week. It has been an absolute blast. Thanks everybody who's been with us live in the chat. Wonderful, wonderful participation tonight in the chat over here on YouTube. If you're listening to this later or watching this later on YouTube, we do this live every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern time. And we've got some fun stuff coming up in the future. Our upcoming books, of course, we're going to be doing the April Roundtable is an X-Wing extravaganza. We're going to be covering the first arc of X-Wing books. We're going to be talking about Rogue Squadron through the fourth one, the Back to War. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to be talking about that first arc, the Core and Horns arc. That's what it's known as. The Mike Stackpole Rogue Squadron books. We'll be having an X-Wing extravaganza and lots more fun stuff to come. If you would like your thoughts read on the show, if you have more recommendations for us, you think we totally butchered it, you want to let us know if we messed up the name of the characters in Crimson Empire, hey, you can talk to us over at legendslookback@utini.com. It's our email address. You can join the Legends Lookback Discord channel. Or, of course, you can find us on Twitter. I'm at Jared Q. Mace. Freddie?
At Wake Up Freddy.
Meg?
At Meg Dowell.
And Jose?
The Joxy on Twitter.
Excellent. Yeah, hey, way to be heads up on that, because I didn't tell you you'd have to have one last little spot, as I always like to see if people are paying attention. If you're looking to buy some of these books, hey, we've just given you 8 or 10 great recommendations. You know what you can do? You can help support the show by going on over to utini.com, clicking on the Amazon link on the profile, and even you can leave us a review. Read the books. Let us know what you think. Who had the better recs? Let us know what you think over there by leaving us a review. And remember, everybody, keep the Utini fan code and be a force for positivity in the fandom. Until next time, may the force be with you.